Yes, sir. Now, well, not always, but I at least been thinking to myself, new podcast, new platform, new mood, new year coming, new, a lot of new stuff. I realized when I deactivated my Twitter account, or at least my main one, and I stopped using it as my main Twitter account, how like I had turned off a bunch of my mentions from people that I don't know. And it was so many tweets that I had about different stuff that went viral. And I was like, man, I got to start a podcast. So here we are, man. Spilt Milk. It's your boy TPJ and friends. Now, I got my homie Jay Black on here. I'm going to introduce him in a second. But the homegirl Lexi Brown, WNBA player, she says she's going to join eventually. We'll see if she joins the Spilt Milk podcast crew. And this podcast is not a sports podcast. It's a real nigga podcast. Like it's just some real shit. Like I'm trying to stop swearing and using the word nigga because I have a daughter, so I'll be trying to be more mindful of my language. But whatever, it's a real nigga podcast. From the South Side of Chicago, 89 from Morgan, 54 from Wabash, 47th in the Dan Ryan, mama from Robert Taylor Projects, if you don't know. Now I just so happen to have grown a little bit to where I can use my mind, but I can speak eloquently when I want to. I can also use my regular colloquialisms as I please as well. So this is the Spilt Milk Podcast. We're gonna talk about a lot of shit. We're gonna probably piss a lot of people off. We're gonna make a lot of people mad. But it doesn't matter. You'll be all right. It's your boy TPJ. And I'm joined here by my homie Jay Black, co-host of the show. Welcome, Jay Black. How you doing today, man?
Man, listen, I'm doing great. I got something for you though. We're gonna do this.
All right,
We're
all
gonna, we
right.
gonna, we gonna replace the word nigga with brother or
Okay,
king.
okay,
That's to help
okay.
you out,
All right, okay.
right?
You're Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah,
niggas.
yeah.
Yo. Okay,
Definitely on the
brother.
K dot. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, King.
I'm a real brother. All right,
Yeah.
I'm a
we
real
were
brother out
we
here.
were brothers in here.
We real brothers out here. So actually, I like that. That
That's
should
my
be the name
brother.
of this. That should be the name of this episode. I replace a nigga with brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to my brother, fellow Black King, homie
Yeah.
Jay Black,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
I tweeted about 2 months ago, or 3 months ago. I was like, yo, I really want to start a podcast about talking about regular stuff, but I want to just talk with whoever about whatever. And the first person to respond was Lexi Brown. Shout out to her. That's why I said she'll probably be on here eventually,
Yeah.
hopefully. And the second person was you, Jay Black. He was like,
What's
yo,
up?
and don't get me wrong, you had hit me up a bunch of times about trying to start a pod, but my thing is like I just have a different level of giving a fuck when I podcast, when I create anything.
Yeah.
So that's also why, like, even this year, like, if you look at Hoops and Brews HB Media, like our overall output as like normal podcasters is dip,
Hmm.
but we've also produced 80 podcasts this
Right.
year. Like,
Right.
well, actually, not even 80. We've produced probably 150 podcasts if you include all the other ones that we produce,
Hmm.
and Hoops and Brews, and the ones that we do with Slick Studios, which is Baron Davis's company. We produce, I think, about 70 alone for Slick Studios.
Yeah.
So even with that being said, like our output hasn't dipped because we've worked with other people, but our personal output is dipped. But I think it's dipped partially because just life. Obviously, I had my first kid this year,
Yes, sir.
and
Congrats.
all and also I had COVID twice this year, so that took me out literally for an entire month. If you actually look at it, we're gonna talk about COVID in a second. But if you
Yeah.
actually look at the real world amount of time, I lost an entire month this year being
Yeah.
stuck in quarantine
Yeah.
due to COVID. And even before all of the bans and all that stuff was lifted earlier, like you really kind of lost a couple months this year just being in the house because of all of the restrictions and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting to like be like, yeah, I want to start something, but I'm like, man, is people gonna really want to do this? So
Yeah.
I appreciate you for just always hitting me up, being like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
why I hit you up and I was like, you serious about it? You said, yeah. I asked Lexi, I'm like, yo, my homie, Jay Black, he said he interested in doing it. Think he'd be a great co-host. Because I always think you're insightful, and as I said before we started the show, like whenever I talk to you, it's usually just about like some real life stuff. Because
Yeah.
obviously I'm a first year father, so a lot I try to take as much advice and tutelage from other fathers and other
Hmm.
people whose opinion I respect. Shout out to Katino Mobley, by the way,
Yeah.
former NBA basketball player.
What's up?
He did some stuff for us with point guard, because a lot of people don't know, like, he actually played point guard his first year in the NBA, and he wound up making second team All NBA, like being a point guard with Charles Barkley and Akeem Olajuwon on the Rockets.
Right.
So that's like a random part of NBA history. But he also, I guess, is like a clinical psychologist or something like that now. And he was
Nice.
saying that he wants to start a podcast, and not even a podcast, but he wants to start a show that can be a podcast,
Yeah.
that's about like fathers. And I just
Nice.
spent literally like an hour and 15 minutes talking with Katino Mobley about being a dad. Like,
Man,
and
that's
he was
dope.
just giving me a ton of advice, a ton of like thoughts, and I thought it was interesting how, like, just hearing another man's perspective. And I'm not going to talk about everything we talked about, because obviously that was
Hmm.
personal, but like, he put a lot of onus on the fathers, but he also put a lot of onus on the mothers as well, and just being like you as a man, like, have to kind of understand the circumstances that you navigate. And I was like, yeah, like, a lot of people make like being a father sound like it's just like going to be easy when you're about to be a father. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I think that that's like vastly unfair to all of the
Man,
guys that are about to be fathers,
for
because like
sure.
being a father is very, 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 very hard. And I understand why a lot of weak people like don't want to do it at all. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, literally just be like, yo, I'm running, you ain't gonna never hear from me.
Yeah.
Because it's a tough job. But if you
Yeah.
actually take on a role and a responsibility of being a father as being something very serious, I'm like,
Yeah.
people don't really tell you that before you become a kid. I mean, I'm sorry, before you have kids. I'm like, and when you a kid, you look at your father and you had this idealized version. And I was like, but one of the last things, because I don't really talk to my father like that, me and him having had like a conversation in a while. And I actually told my mom that I was gonna call him before Christmas, because I literally shook his hand one day and told him I was never gonna speak to him again. And I
Mm.
had one conversation with him since. He
Mm.
kind of like cornered me at like my little brother's prom, and was basically just like, yo, like, you don't know what it's like to be a father, have a family of your own. He told me this before I had a family. This was like, my little brother 21 now, so this is like 4 years ago, 3 4 years ago. He was
Mm.
just like, I know I made some mistakes, but like, you don't know what it's like to have a family until you have your own family.
Yeah.
And like, and now that I've like ascended to this path and got on this, that shit just be replaying
It
in my
hit
head.
different. It
It
hit different.
does, it does. So I told my mom, I was like, tell him that I'm gonna actually talk to him. Like I know I ain't rock with him like that,
Yeah.
but I was like, yo, tell him that I'm gonna actually talk to him.
I love it.
And I was
Love to
like,
hear it, man.
that didn't really, but I was like, so I haven't been in a rush to do it, but he been making his concerted efforts. And although I haven't necessarily liked the output, I feel like it could, like, I don't know, I just feel like a person who wants to apologize is gonna like genuinely mean it. And like, I'm not a hard person to reach,
Hmm.
and I've had the same phone number for 16 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? I'm not a hard person to reach. Anybody could
Yeah.
call me and I could pick up the phone. You could leave me a voicemail, whatever. But I'm
Yeah.
kind of at that stage where I'm doing that. But like with the output stuff, now that I become a father, and like father life is different. You working also with COVID, like men are forced to like be at home and work from home. It's like a completely different dynamic than if you are out in the workforce every day
Mm.
doing it, especially like if you're not a person that's not doing essential labor. And shout out to all the essential workers. I respect and have the
Absolutely.
utmost respect and love for you guys. And I fight for you guys to get wages, because I remember when I was bagging groceries when I first moved to LA, and I made $8 an hour. My rent
Hmm.
was like $500 a month because I had roommates, but I was making $8 an hour. So to the thought of people making 15 an hour or
Yeah.
18 an hour, like, yo,
Yeah.
I damn near could have,
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't have been like, yo, I'm starving. Like, you
Right.
know what I mean?
That's balling.
And even then, you're still at the poverty line,
Especially in LA.
especially in LA.
Especially here in
So
LA.
yeah, so it's just, so the
Yeah.
reason why I'm glad that you all, you hit me up about this, because we, number one, always have real life conversations, but number two, beyond the real life conversations, you always been one of the people to hit me up like, yo, let's do something, let's make something together, let's make something happen. And I don't really like working with people, but I like people that are consistent, and that's always like,
Hmm.
yo, fuck it, let's work. I was like, yo, what you doing today? Let's record the first episode.
Yep.
He was like,
Yep.
fucking, I ain't doing nothing, let's do it. That I
Yep.
respect that, because also when you a dad, when you get your free time, you gotta use it and leverage it. So like, I be
It
having the
gotta,
building with
yeah,
my girl,
yeah,
like, yo, I'm working. When she come in my office from
yeah,
9 to 6 and I'm working,
yeah,
I'm like, yo, I am at work. I am
yeah,
not
yeah.
here.
Yep.
I don't call you at work. I
Yeah.
am not here. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah,
So
and
yeah,
they gotta see that, and they gotta know it's real, and they gotta know it's very much so, like, you're not just out here, wasting time, but the time
yeah,
that you spend away, somebody getting taxed for it. That's why I look at it now, like, any time spent away from my kids, like, somebody gotta pay for it. It gotta
yeah,
come out of somebody's pocket, whether it's investing or it's in the space that we doing now, like, really, because I know, like, we're about to definitely bless some people's lives, and we're really about to change some real brothers' lives,
yeah,
as they tune in, because what we got to share comes from a real place, and it's more edutainment than just entertainment. Like, we're on the lines of really sharing like real life experiences. Like, I
yeah,
think that's one of the challenges that we face now, is so many people out here talking and they're sharing ideals. They're not sharing stuff that they really lived, or something that they really experienced, or something that they have an educated opinion on, and they just kind of it's like, talking sports, like, oh, he's
yeah,
sorry, well, why is he sorry? Like, help me understand, like, put some reason and some facts behind it. So I
yeah.
feel like this is different, so I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, no, and that's honestly a thing we always try to do with Hoops and Brews. Like we never really personally disrespected the guys.
Hmm.
Like I mean, we might talk about the haircuts or whatever or the outfits, but like they do that on purpose. Like they wear those things to
Yeah,
be a part of the conversation because it helps them with their brand. So I
absolutely.
should be able to comment on it.
Hmm.
Especially if it's not disrespectful. Like I mean, everybody got jokes for Kelly Oubre and and CP3's outfits and LeBron's outfits. So it's nothing personal. And I've always made it a point not to do that. Number one, because I worked in the entertainment industry, but number two, like um, I just understand how it feels, especially when it's like personal. Like I
Yep.
like I said, like I tweeted this a while ago on my page, but I was like, yo, like I know people, and that's why I said when I was deleting all the old tweets, I was laughing because I had muted like all of the people that I didn't know, like all the mentions for people I didn't know and shit. So I just saw my friends' mentions. So when I was going back and deleting all these old tweets, because I'm slowly like deleting all my old tweets from my old Twitter account, but I can't delete the every tweet like a mass tweet delete
Hmm.
because we tweeted thousands of videos from that account for Hoops and Brews. So if I
Hmm.
delete all my tweets, it'll delete every video that's ever been tweeted. So I have
Yeah.
to just delete the tweets
Hmm.
singularly. So I just be like a search a word like the and just
Hmm.
delete every tweet with the that I'm like, this is not relevant info. And I'd be like, yo, damn, this tweet provided this tweet got 400 something thousand responses. Damn, this like I had a tweet that said that like the weekend has caught Michael Jackson musically, right? I don't see no
Ooh.
mentions from that. I had it literally, I have a tweet that says the weekend has caught Michael Jackson musically.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
for real.
Hey, that's a hot take, though.
It's not a hot take.
That's a hot
It's
take, bro.
it's not a hot take. It's not a hot take. It's not a hot take at all. It's facts. He caught Mike musically.
Caught like
Mike
what?
Mike
Like,
had like 3 fire albums.
oh, you talking about solo?
Yeah, I'm coming out solo.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. I'm finna show the tweet on the screen. Look, hold on. It is. Look, literally. I think
Hmm.
musically. I'd say it musically.
Hmm.
Mike has caught the weekend. And look, I muted the tweet. This was December 2019. I muted this tweet, bro. Look at how many comments this shit got, bro. Like I had no clue none of this was going on because I muted all of this stuff. So it's just like I'm just looking, I'm like, yo, this got 2,000 quote tweets. So I'm like, yo, these opinions, I need to just put these opinions with some people that I enjoy having some conversations about
Yeah,
and
yeah.
have some fun with it and and not personally disrespect people, but just that
Nah,
I
yeah,
realize like, yeah, I got some polarizing opinions. So
for
I'm a,
sure.
I'm, I'm gonna bring it. But I think musically there's an argument to be made. I think what we have seen is the weekend be systemically targeted by the Grammys because he has chosen the Super Bowl over the Grammys. When he chose to do the Super Bowl over the Grammys, they
Hmm.
basically blackballed him. He had, to me, 2 albums that have been worthy of album of the year nomination for the past 2 albums that he had, and they didn't give it to him. He didn't even get nominated one year. Like that's
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
That's
for
bull.
sure.
You're not telling me the weekend not worthy of being nominated, bro. That's like MTV not wanting to play Michael Jackson's videos.
Wish they didn't.
I know, but eventually they came to their senses, but also it was still wrong. Like
Yeah.
the weekend has been a victim of injustice, bro. So like when I made that argument, it wasn't in disrespect to Mike.
No,
I'm just being like I'm just
you
listening
you
to
you in
music.
support. I
No,
get it.
because like once Mike broke up with Quincy and they went their separate ways, the music wasn't as hot to me no more. Like
Bad.
Bad was cool, but what after that?
Invincible was okay.
Invincible had two songs. It had Butterflies and You Rock My World.
Agreed. Well, no, what? Yeah,
He
nah.
had a song with Biggie. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't Heat, G. What
Nah,
was
it
the
was.
album after Bad with Remember the Time on it?
Uh, shit,
Oh,
I
hold
don't even.
on. I can't remember the name of it. But no, G.
I don't know.
No.
But
I
remember, the
can't
time was a big hit though.
I can't even remember the name of it. Oh, it was Dangerous. No, Dangerous
Dangerous,
was
yeah,
yes, Remember the Time was fire. But Black
yeah.
or White, not fire. In the Closet, not fire. Jam, Who is
Jam was
it?
in. But
Heal the
here's the
world,
thing though. I think
Will
at
you
that
be
point,
there?
listen, you got to think of the cultural phenomenon that Mike was at that point. He did Jam. He did a video with MJ, the two goats. What's the You're Not Alone? Like that was one of them joints was on the
Look,
Free Willy
look,
soundtrack.
look,
Like so, at
look. The
that point, he's just
rumors.
he's
Look.
like
Wait
a
a minute.
cultural
Wait a minute.
icon.
Wait a minute. Who wrote that song? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Which one?
Nah, You Are Not Alone was not on there.
It wasn't on there.
Nah, it
No,
wasn't
I'm
on
thinking.
there.
What's the Free Willy song?
It is You Are Not Alone.
No, the Free Willy song.
I don't know the name of the Free
What is it?
Willies.
Dun, 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 dun,
Art.
dun,
By the way,
dun.
Art Kelly wrote "You Are Not Alone." G. Who was that song about? Who was that song about, bro?
I don't, I don't know, bro. I don't know, dog. I don't want to disrespect your Chi-Town homie, but
I mean, it ain't about disrespect. It is what it is. Oh yeah. Name of the song was called "Will You Be There."
hey, you know what's crazy though? I remember it had to be like I was in high school, so this is probably like 90, 98, 99. And my homies from Chicago would tell me about like, yeah, man, like R. Kelly, like he always coming to the high school. Like he pull up in the Phantom or pull up in the White Rose, and he just sit out there. Like they said, dog literally be like taking all the girls. And I was like, wait, the high school? They was like, dude, he pulls up to our high school, like wait until like right when it's time for school to get out, parks across the street, and then
Wow.
everybody flocks over to his car. I'm like, what is he giving out money? Like, what are you doing? They said, dog, it'd be like 50 girls standing around his car and just him by himself. No security, no nothing. Just him out there.
Look, I I can't say that I've heard anything different. Kels is Kels. G. If you from Chicago, if you everybody got a Kels story.
And y'all been knowing.
I mean, what? I mean, look, I don't know what you want me to say. What the fuck I'm gonna do about it? He had sex tapes out when I was in high school,
Right.
so it's like
He,
with minors,
he
and people knew they was minors. We knew they was
right.
minors when we was in high school. It's like, bro, that's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
So I mean, they just kind of let that man operate with impunity. So it is what it is. But let's get to the main. Let's get to one
Yes,
of the
sir.
main
Yes, sir.
topics. I want to talk about COVID season. As I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, I've had COVID twice this year, which means that I've been in quarantine for a month out of this entire year. I got it in July, right after 4th of July, in the house for really, I was in the house for like 16 days because that one really got me bad. This
Mhm.
last one, this is technically my 14th day of quarantine. But COVID season is interesting because a lot of stuff is going on and a lot of the conversation in the media
Yeah.
and everything that's happening is very interesting. Now, the
For sure.
CDC has changed the the recommended isolation quarantine period for the general population from 10 days for people with COVID to 5 days if they're asymptomatic, followed by 5 days of wearing a mask when around others. So basically, once you stop feeling bad, then you can put your mask on and go out with COVID. Originally, when COVID first began to sweep the world. It was, what was it originally? It was 14 days, if I'm not
Yeah,
incorrect. It was
at one
14
point
days.
they was trying to go back and forth between 14 and 21 days.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting, kind of everything that's happening. It says transmission occurs in the early course of the illness, generally 1 to 2 days prior to the onset of symptoms and 2 to 3 days after. Therefore, people who test positive should isolate for 5 days. If asymptomatic at that time, they may leave isolation if they can continue to mask for 5 days. Now, how do they define being asymptomatic? Like, does that just mean that you don't have any symptoms, or does that mean you tested positive for it, but like I don't know. I think a lot of people have been upset with the CDC. I've personally been upset with the
Yeah.
CDC and the scientists. I literally had arguments with two girls in the club about this. One girl, she's like trying to be like a public health official, like she's trying to be like an Anthony Fauci type of person. And
Okay.
another girl is like a virologist scientist or some shit. She went to like Yale or one of them, Stanford, one of them fucking schools or whatever. She went to
Hmm.
one of them schools, and I'm like, yo. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying to work in like public health. And one of them's like, yeah, I'm more like Anthony Fauci. She's like, yeah, and I kind of want to like work with her to help disseminate those types of messages. I'm like, well, then why are you guys failing to like make people feel comfortable about all of this? Like, why
Cause
is
they
the
guessing.
messaging around shaming people? Like, I don't understand that. And
Cause they
people, yeah,
can't definitively speak. They
I
don't
mean,
know
they,
for sure.
yeah, they say that, but then like you'll have guys like LeBron. He'll go and he posted the Spider-Man meme on his page, and I'm gonna show it. LeBron posted the Spider-Man meme on his page, and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar took great exception to it. And just look at the amount of number one likes. It's got 2.4 million likes, and look at all of the comments from all of these different people and celebrities. It's a lot of them on here. So my question to you is, what did you interpret this to mean from LeBron? Because I'm hearing
Yeah.
a lot of other stuff, and I'm just gonna ask you before I tell you my interpretation, and then tell you what the internet has been saying about LeBron.
Well, I feel like this. I knew personally that LeBron was not only fully vaxxed, but he's also like he's been, he's very careful with his words, and he's in, everything he does is intentional. And it's a lot of thought behind it, and he got a circle in his posse that he, kind of checks in with before he says anything, because he recognizes that his influence, not only, he's going to that real icon level where, his words could create war. It could spark war, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for him, I feel like with this one specifically, I just took it as him taking a shot at the NBA because they're inconsistent, as it pertains to protocols and how they police, the COVID versus, because I think it was LeBron where they said like one of his tests came back positive or whatever, and but he didn't actually have COVID. But because the test came back, then he had to miss a couple of days, or he had to go in quarantine, which for the NBA is like it's just inconsistent because it just depends on whoever what they feel at the time. Because if it was around Christmas, he would have been playing, or if
Mm-hmm.
it was around real money making times, then they definitely would have let him sit out. So I feel like more or less he was just taking a shot at the NBA and just really calling that what it is. Even though between COVID, the cold, and flu, all the symptoms are the same, and with the test being inconsistent in general, like you don't know. Like I know some people who fully vaccinated with all the boosters, and they get tested, and one test says, "Oh, you got COVID or you got a variant," and then they test the next day, and it says like, "Oh no, you good, you don't have it." So that's what I took it as.
Yeah. Me personally, what I took it as was I took it as LeBron saying, yo, like I remember when COVID first began, and like you would be scared to even cough like at all.
Correct.
Like I remember
Correct.
covering the NBA games when there was no one in the stadiums, like absolutely nobody in the
Mhm.
stadiums. And if you and if your throat get dry when you got a mask on, You don't even want to cough. You
Right.
don't want to say nothing. You don't want to do nothing. You just like in there like, oh my God, this is terrible. If you don't even want to sneeze, you don't want to do
Right.
any of that, because
Right.
immediately the perception is going to be like, oh man, who is this motherfucker coughing? Like you see
Yeah, he
all the
got it.
Twitter memes and all that stuff basically being like, like, oh man, this person, sneezed around me 3 times. Like, are you doing too much? You
Right.
feel me?
Right.
So
Right.
I
Right.
think it's been interesting, but I just think that this meant that, like, yo, you don't really know what it is that you might have. It all kind of looks the same.
Yeah.
Somehow, and I'm vaccinated. I hope if you see fit in your life to go get vaccinated, that you go and get vaccinated, because it
Mhm.
is good to help save your life. Go get vaccinated because it saves your life. Do it
Both
because
and
it's something you want to do. Both for
and pay
you, the
attention to
life,
your health.
yes, and pay attention to your health. Be healthy. Protect
Yeah.
your children. This is the main reason I went and got vaccinated, because I
Yeah.
have a toddler,
Yeah.
and she's gotten COVID twice.
Mhm.
I know other toddlers that know her that
Mhm.
have gotten COVID, that have also gotten the flu
Yep.
before she got COVID. So what I'm saying is, me personally, I make it my choice to go and get vaccinated because of my family, and I do that for that particular reason. I think
Mhm.
LeBron has let it be known that he's been vaccinated. LeBron literally owns, like, he's helped found a school. Like, I think people have been like trying to frame him to be some evil, maniacal,
Yeah.
political puppet that is capable of suggesting anything, when
Right.
I have seen this meme on Twitter 59 million hundred times since LeBron
Absolutely.
tweeted the meme.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, not since he tweeted, before he
Prior to.
tweeted the
Yeah.
meme.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Before before he tweeted the meme, I saw it. So it's like, bro, I don't really know what to say. All I will say is this: 2.4 million likes, 47.7 thousand comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly, there is something or some other feeling that's going on that is not just about going and stopping people from getting vaccinated. And the reason why I mention that is because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, did you hear about that?
Yeah, man. Kareem, and what's crazy
Go
is,
ahead.
like, just even without going deep into sports, I have high respect for Kareem because I feel like because of his playing time and the era that he was in, like his career was so devalued because he was a black man and what he was able to accomplish at the high school, college, and professional level, like nobody has done nor will ever do. I feel like Jordan was the closest, but not even MJ. Like at the end of the day, Kareem is the real GOAT when it comes to hoop, right? In my opinion. And at the same time, like his political presence during that era, like all those things, considered, I got a high respect for Kareem. On this take, he missed it 1000%. Like he's skyhooked an air ball right here. It fell short. He ain't even hit the backboard. He ain't hit the rim nor the net. Like dog, like nothing about that implied that LeBron was like he's a anti-vaxxer or he supports anti-vax or he like it just was it's a reach. It's a reach.
Let's talk about it. Let's show it
Yeah.
on the screen. So Kareem, in his post on kareem.substack.com, states, here's the first problem with that statement. With 106 million Instagram followers, making such a post is automatically politically impactful because he questions the validity of the efforts to get the country vaccinated.
Huh?
This is my first issue. Vaccination is not about politics.
Right. It's not. It is not.
It is about the embetterment of the human race.
Correct.
It's not about politics.
It's not.
Even Donald Trump, leader of the right,
Right.
has stated multiple times
Yeah.
when he got COVID
Yeah.
that, I got COVID and I got some special medications and they gave me a special treatment. And then afterwards, he stated that he got vaccinated.
Right.
He said as recently as last week in an argument which Candace Owens, who's
Yeah.
also been at sports games where you have to be vaccinated in order to get in there. So I'm confused at how she has any kind of political rhetoric or is trying to politicize something that she currently has in her veins.
Right.
Donald Trump literally said, I got the booster. Go get the booster. Donald Trump got booed in Alabama, I believe it was, for saying, go get the booster.
Yeah.
This is a bipartisan issue. It's not
for
about
sure.
politics.
It's not at all.
It's
very much so.
it's about it. Are you a believer in science or not? That is not political.
Yeah.
That's not political.
Yeah.
The leader of the right is saying, go get vaccinated. The leader of the left is saying, go get vaccinated. Bernie, the leader of the middle saying, go get vaccinated.
Everybody's saying
this is not a political issue. This is a humankind issue.
Yeah.
It is about humanity. It is not about the left. It is not about the right. LeBron isn't posting that COVID meme to subvert the left so that way he can make the right seem like they're some kind of heroes. I just don't understand it. He continues to say, as is evidenced by some of the comments that cheer LeBron's post, he's giving support to those not getting vaccinated, which makes the situation for all worse by postponing our health care and economic recovery. Number one, there are 2 vaccines that you should be going out and technically getting if you want to be vaccinated up to the point where you're vaccinated for the entire community and for humanity's sake. Number one, that is the flu vaccine, which the flu strain is out. The flu vaccine is out and available currently. Am I wrong? This year's updated flu vaccine is out, correct? Jay Black, am I tweeting?
No, you there. Yeah,
and you can go and get COVID vaccinated.
Yeah.
You should be vaccinated all around if we're talking about standards of being vaccinated. So if LeBron said, yo, don't go get the COVID vaccine, get the flu vaccine, is he still telling people not to get vaccinated? Is he doing that because of the right? Is he doing that because of he's trying to turn a issue into a bipartisan issue into a right or a left wing issue?
Yeah,
he's doing this because he's aiming to hurt people. No,
he engaging in politics.
LeBron was simply saying, anytime you sneeze, you cough, your throat get a little itchy. It's the winter time. It's flu season. It's COVID season. It's also I got chronic sinusitis. I didn't have it since I was 13 years old. So I just get sinus infections sometimes. So imagine me getting sinus infections every other week, being like, oh my God, I hope this ain't COVID. Like, it's not about a political issue. It's just like, damn, this sucks. If I get sick in any manner, I have no idea what's going on. Which is funny also because the day I knew I had COVID, because I felt a little weird, I'm like, you know what, let me go and give me a at-home COVID test. Went and bought an at-home COVID test. Well, when it took a regular COVID test, like a one where they send it to the lab, and then I took an at-home COVID test. I took an at-home COVID test. It came up a little pink. I'm like, well, great. I'm quarantining because I'm not going out again until the quarantine days are over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm gonna just wait for my test because if this say inconclusive or it's kind of pink, I probably got COVID. Get the thing the next day. It's like, yo, I got COVID. My homie had literally just told me today, yo, if you don't get your booster, more likely you're gonna get the Omicron. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that booster. And then literally wind up getting COVID, which now even to cover the NBA games, you have to get the booster because they just sent that out. As of January 5th, we have to get a booster in order to cover NBA games. So I'm gonna have to get boosted. Like, so I just thought that was weird. It's just like, we have to, with this COVID thing, get past blaming one another for something that we cannot control. Like, we cannot control this thing. As much as we try to put it in a box and give it rigid lines and rigid rules, as with the CDC coming out and changing the COVID guidelines, it's not rigid. It's not black and white. It's a lot of gray. And I think a lot of people are trying to politicize and turn this into a black or white issue, and I just don't understand.
Is your computer tripping?
No, my computer not tripping. I can hear you.
Mine is tripping. I feel like I don't know if it's because we talking about COVID. I just like to say, government, I support whatever you stand for.
No, we're not anti anything. We're not anti anything. I just told people to go get flu vaccinated and get COVID vaccinated.
Yeah.
I'm not anti anything. Go get vaccinated for everything that you need to get vaccinated for, so that way you don't get sick.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
Like
Nah.
Omicron was around for what, 2 weeks, and then it swept through the nation. That's
Yeah.
not enough time. Like if you could, like at once I got COVID, you like literally I literally tried to order a COVID test, book a COVID appointment. There were no
Mhm.
COVID tests available until yesterday, which is the 27th of December.
Yep.
So it's not as if like even the ability to go out and rapidly, like I spent at home with my family because we
Hmm.
didn't want to go around anyone because I was 10 days post COVID.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to go and do
Yeah.
what's best for their health. But if you don't want to do that, that's on you and you have to live with those consequences. I know people that are not vaccinated in Chicago that have been struck by COVID and dealt with some deadly issues. And I pray for them and I wish them well, but I also don't chastise them because it's not my place to tell them
Yeah.
what to do with their body.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Kareem, if that makes me evil, but I'm not evil, bro. LeBron
Yeah.
isn't evil either. I think his whole point was it's unfortunate that anything that's going on, you have no idea what is going on. And I don't. And if anything, to me, that's more about the testing and trying to and actually like identifying COVID more than it is about vaccination ever. So I
Yeah.
digress from that.
Yeah. You know what I feel? I feel like ever since the whole China incident, like people have really questioned kind of where LeBron stood, like, or they question where he stands in a political conversation, like, because if they feel like his comment or his take could slant left, then they all on him. If they feel like it's slant right, then they all on him. Like, bro is
But
not allowed to just be. He's not allowed to have an opinion about nothing without it being.
that's
It needs to
bullshit.
lean either way,
That's bullshit.
for sure,
He's allowed to have his opinion, but
for
we're
sure.
also allowed to say, LeBron, we don't want to hear your opinion.
True.
Also, also, I'm fine with people being mad at him, but also at the same time, don't take the context of the conversation and make it what you want to fit your argument.
Yeah,
Like I
and
think
that's
people
what's
do
up.
that a lot.
That's politics.
I think people do that a
Yeah, that's
lot.
politics 101.
Excuse me.
No,
And
no, for sure.
I
That's
think people
politics
do
101.
that even looking at even when the thing happened with LeBron, I saw a bunch of white reporters being like, he did that, and like, imagine how Carl Anthony Towns feels about it. And I'm just like, why do you have to make LeBron James posting a COVID meme or a meme about him thinking that the symptoms of from COVID to a flu to whatever all feel the same and you don't know, which also is funny because LeBron also is given the highest grade of testing in the entire world. Like the NBA
Right.
literally has an entire doctor team in charge of measuring how much like COVID they have in their body and all that stuff, which is why the NBA shortened their quarantine thing because they're like, yo, if you measure for a non-viral amount of COVID, then we'll let you play. Versus like before, it was like, if you just had COVID at all, you can play. They got their own medical. LeBron is one of the most highly tested and vaccinated human beings in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
they
some.
talking about, he like y'all got to let it go and don't bring Carl Anthony Towns or bring his rest in peace to his mother, her beautiful
Yeah.
soul
That's
into
yeah.
it.
That's
And
terrible.
yeah, it's like you shouldn't be bringing someone's
Yeah.
dead mother into a conversation about
Not
LeBron
at all.
in order
Not at
for
all.
you guys to like attack LeBron. Like I just don't think a lot of the media has been fair. And I
Nope.
think that like just looking at this COVID landscape, like I just pray that the the disease itself continues to get weaker and weaker to the point where it isn't a real threat and it's not taking lives, because I don't think that we're going to agree on anything because everyone wants to make this shit about politics. But
For sure.
anyways, let's talk about it. What's your album of the year?
Man, I'm a little door open. For
Oh, for
sure. For
real?
sure. Silk Sonic. Album of the year, dog.
Okay.
Album of
All
the
right.
year. Like when you think about especially we were just talking about COVID, right? Like we're in a space now where like everybody needs to kind of be at ease. Everybody needs universally, I feel like everybody needs to like, the soundtrack of our lives. Like everybody needs to kind of be in a space where they can just be mellowed because we've been put on high alert where fear is up, anxiety is up, like
Mm-hmm.
everything is up. So like I'm a student of the times and a student of music. Like I feel like what Silk Sonic is doing like is really spreading real love and giving everybody a certain level of peace and musically kind of easing the tension that is the current society that we live in. So I just on GP, I got to give it to them, like on what they doing.
All right,
What
I
about
ain't
you?
mad at that.
What about you?
I like the album, but I'm gonna be honest. I was disappointed in it.
What? Why so?
Yeah, because it, I love Bruno Mars and I want to work with Bruno Mars one day. So I want to make sure I say this with proper levity.
Okay.
He is one of the greatest artists post the year 2000 of all time.
Okay.
And honestly, of all time. Honestly.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think you can name 100 musical artists that are better than Bruno Mars throughout history. Like he's also a composer, a writer, a producer. He
Musician.
plays a
Yeah.
musician.
Multiple
Like
instruments.
he multiple instruments. Like he
Singer,
is
dancer, all that.
yes, he is a Prince level talent. Not as great as Prince because Prince just has like such a tremendous body of work. Like Prince has like mixtape level work where like he didn't drop
Correct.
20 albums.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno has dropped 4. So the volume of work and the volume of classics over the years is not as concentrated as Prince. But if
Right.
you want to talk about a baby type of Prince style type artist, he is that type of artist to me.
Correct.
I just it just felt like a Bruno Mars album with Anderson .Paak on it. And like I know Bruno is famous for dropping the 9-song albums. I just wanted to get something that was 12 songs and something that had a little bit more experimentation. Like if there, no, wrong, I like every song that's on the
Mhm.
album. It's a couple songs that I don't necessarily. Like I don't like the song "Skate," but when I hear the commercials, I like it. It's cool. But like if you're gonna make a project with Bootsy, I need to get uh uh like After Last Night is kind of one of them funk joints. I'll put it this way. Like what Donald Glover did with Awaken My Love, like he actually made
Uh,
a real funk album.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
They just made a R&B album
Mm-hmm.
with Bootsy Collins talking on it with
Yeah.
like a slight funk influence. And I
Correct.
think it was marketed more as like a funk album. So like although a lot of people didn't necessarily like Awaken My Love, but you still could like Redbone. You can like
Mhm.
you can like me the night me and your mama met it. I like the whole album, but I
Yeah.
like the whole album because it's just like a weird funk album to me.
Hmm.
Like it has the instrumentation, the notes, the xylophones, the music, all of it. It sounds very funkish. Like I
Hmm.
mean, like I could imagine Bootsy Collins like talking throughout that whole album. I'm like, yo, this is a crazy funk album because I like the album as a funk album. This album to me just felt like a Bruno Mars album with a sprinkle of Bootsy Collins and a sprinkle of Anderson .Paak. And like Anderson .Paak, even like with his drumming and his instrumentations and like some of the groove, kind of melody songs that he
Yeah.
has.
Yep.
Like I just thought that we would get a couple more of them kind of groove melody jams and
Hmm.
a slight bit more of like funk. Like I thought the 2 singles was gonna be what the singles was, but I thought we was gonna get like 12 songs, like a full like hour long body of work and be able to go with that hour long body of work and make that happen. So I find that very, very interesting. But overall, I did like the Silk Sonic album. It's just like at a certain point in time, I just wanted, I don't know. I guess I'm just like nitpicking, but um it is what it is. I do personally think my favorite tracks and my standout tracks are After Last Night. My other standout track is actually 777. I didn't kind of like it. It was a little funky at first. I'm like, you know what? All right, I like it. I got some homies that gamble. They was posting the gambling meme. I was like, all right, cool. I guess I kind of understand. It is what it is. But anyways, my personal album of the year, and I know that now. Listen to me. I know y'all gonna be mad. Hold on. All right, album. All right. Now I know, I know that oftentimes we love as hip hop fans to say, yo, we don't like white publications where they talk about music. But I will say this. Oh no, they didn't. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No, gee, they got me with the foo-wop. The internet got me with the foo-wop, boy. The internet got me with the foo-wop. Oh, okay. They did. Playboy Cardi's album topped the hip hop rap album list. Now I know a lot of black critics, including myself, love to say leave them white publications alone. We don't want to hear that, but I agree with it. Whole Lot of Red album of the year. I know it dropped December 25th. I don't care. It was a Christmas present. You got the Christmas present for New Year's. I understand that like this album might have been a little bit over people's heads, but I think this album is a pavement cracker, kind of the same way Yeezus was a pavement cracker. Because this album, I really feel like is the album where like in the future we're gonna look back and be like, yo, like Cardi actually did change the way that we kind of listen to the 808 sound. Like I feel like Rocky had been trying to like get there, but I think Rocky was a little bit more trippy versus like the hardcore edge. Like this album with Kanye West executive producing it just felt like it felt like how you felt when you were a kid and you had too much sugar. Does that make sense? Like that's kind of how it felt to me. But as an adult, like when you from the first moment when you hear Rockstar Made, it just like immediately punches you in the chest. And I feel like that's kind of what Yeezus did, but like Yeezus didn't punch you in the chest. Yeezus punched you in the eardrum. You were just like, yo, what the fuck is this? And I really feel like Whole Lot of Red like took you and it just punched you in the chest from your eardrums. Like immediately from the first track, you just like jump. And you just like, oh shit, what is this? But also, it's funny because I have friends that are hardcore Playboy Cardi fans, and they hate the album. So, Jay Black, have you
Man,
heard Playboy Cardi's Whole Lot of Red album?
I have like I don't know. Here's the thing, like it's certain like,
Go ahead.
and
Go ahead. No,
I got
please.
strong opinions, especially as it pertains to music. Like I feel
Go
like
ahead.
I'm so let down by hip hop, rap music in general right now.
Okay.
Even though I do feel like there's a bubble up that's happening right now, because I feel like real bars are kind of left. Like now, I forgot which rapper said it, but it was like if you popular, you don't even have to have no real bars. Like you could, and I'm a West Coast dude that started off listening to hip hop on gangster rap, where like Too Short, uh, Ice Cube, NWA, Easy E, like so it ain't like we had like this real, at least for me, I didn't have this real bar heavy introduction to hip hop. Like it was more or less just like all vibes and feels. With all that being kind of stated, like I'm just so let down. So like some artists, I don't even really give them space to engage in my on my playlist. Like I may like if I'm just randomly kind of like listening to some like, all right, let me try to stay relevant, let me stay current, let me give these dudes some chances. Then I may listen. Like I feel like a lot of like what's crazy is who is that? It's a dude I slept on, but I love like 21 Savage. Like initially, like when I heard or I heard one record, I was like, man, this dude like he is not even like he ain't saying nothing. He ain't got no flow. He ain't no, and so I was
Nah,
like,
G.
man, let me
Savage
stop.
got bars,
Hey,
G.
dog, I wouldn't
That
man. I
man, no,
listen.
G. Shout out to Savage. His
His
song "Drinking and
album,
Driving," G.
absolutely, dog. Like
Every Savage project to me personally is a classic.
sure,
I
for
know he be
sure,
sound like he don't be saying a lot, but he's also
but
gotten
he
way
do.
better. But
Yes, like
literally, have you ever heard his song "Drinking and Driving"? You need to
I
listen to
have,
that.
I
Yes.
have,
The
yeah, and I feel
tragedy
like
you and I make.
yeah, like dog is strong. Like, and what's crazy is like I think of like what's that one record? Oh, with him and Cole, because I think Cole is for sure like he a hybrid. Like he old school and new school. He got bars for days and he got swag, but a lot. I was like surprised. I'm like, wait, 21 is holding his like like Cole didn't just blow him out the water. Like he actually like he ain't bar for bar, but he just like it's at the same energy level.
21 had a better verse on a lot.
That's
And
what
it
I'm
was by a
saying.
lot.
Without
No, number one, no, I love Cole. I love Cole. But he said that they faking their streams and getting their plays from machines. I want to know, like Schoolboy Q said, where are the streaming farms at J. Cole? I need them because I want to be a superstar. And number two, he said he kind of get. I didn't like that Takashi shot. I'm sorry, I didn't. I just didn't. I didn't think it was like I like like I didn't care if he was in jail praying if it was worth it or not, because I knew he wasn't changed, and clearly he got out of jail and nothing about him was changed.
No, it turned up even more.
Like he's still talking crazy.
He felt invincible.
Exactly. So I mean,
Yeah.
Whole Lot of Red is my album of the year for the year.
Okay. Okay.
But it is, I know it dropped in 2020, but it dropped Christmas, so it's kind of like whatever.
Yeah. It's
But
still in the Grammy category. So
for me, honestly, like I just think that the same way Yeezus like cracked the pavement and made people listen to music differently, and like now we have the heavy 808 sound, like
yeah.
Yeezus was the start of that. But
Hmm.
also not even just the heavy 808 sounds, it's like the heavy 808 sounds and the non-real choruses. Like like Yeezus' choruses are like, they not real hooks. They just kind of like bars or refrains that you could tell that they took from other pieces of a verse and made a chorus.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's no real strong choruses. There's no strongers on there. It's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
can't tell me nothing's on there. It's
Right.
no workout plans on there. Like it's just like hard hitting. The sounds are like weird. A lot of people didn't like it. I didn't like it at all for like the first month I heard it. Then I listened to it. I'm like, yo, this shit is like different. And then music
Hmm.
started to sound that way. And the
Yeah.
thing that makes Whole Lot of Red special is Kanye executive produced it. Like Kanye was the one that mixed it, that basically put together the album track list, that added production on top of like what was like, well, for Cardi would have been like a raw mixtape with
Hmm.
like new beats where he's trying to like create a heavy 808 and punk kind of rock soundish,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I've heard a lot of artists since Cardi dropped Whole Lot of Red try to drop stuff to sound like it, and it's
Yeah.
not Whole Lot of Red. And I
Yeah.
think as we move toward the future, even though Whole Lot of Red is like there's some violence in it, but also feel like there's some heart in it. And also, I got friends that are Playboy Cardi stans, like they love him, and all
Hmm.
his mixtape stuff sounded like his old shit. This
Hmm.
sounded like something completely different, and that's why
Yeah.
all the new fans hate it. But
Yeah.
all the new fans were like, "But he gave me like 4 tapes and leaks that sound like them." Like, so why would you want an album of stuff that
Yeah.
sound like
That's
the leaks?
already the same. Yeah.
So I appreciated that about it. So whether you agree with it or not, I feel y'all. But some honorable mentions for album of the year. Me, I got Wiz Khalifa's Wiz Got Wings album. It sounds like the old school cushion orange juice Wiz Khalifa. It does.
Of the
It
year though.
does.
Of
The
the
year,
year.
bro. Go listen to it.
Honorable
It's
mention.
it's the whole thing produced by Cardo and
Okay.
Sledrin. The
Okay.
whole thing produced by Cardo and Sledrin. I'm gonna get an honorable mention. I'm gonna get my homie Vic Spencer for Hire 4 honorable mention. I'm gonna give
Okay.
Chief Keef Phonem album honorable mention. I'm gonna get a homie Pope DITMR honorable mention. He dropped a project right before Christmas called Keep Dancing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give the homie Pavi and the homie T honorable mention for dropping a project, the Vibe Tape Volume 1. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
myself honorable mention. Go get that Dot Speaker the album. That's my album. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
actually give Tory Lanez honorable mention for his album Alone at Prom. It
Really?
sounds like if The Weeknd and Chris Brown had a kid. I'm gonna give let's see. I'm gonna give Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets, RTBMB, his
Hey.
project Halftime. It's fire.
Yes.
He got a song
Yeah.
called Badass. Fire.
Yeah.
He got a song with with Babyface Tron, I think that's the name of it,
Hmm.
called LeVar Ball. That's fire. Another honorable mention I'm gonna give is to Donda, because Ye came back and he showed y'all that he was still the king of this shit. He
Yep.
sold out the stadium. I was
Yep.
there. That's what they said. Everybody called the Omarion, but it is what it is. It was amazing. It was one of the best shows I've been to. It was the second best Kanye West show I've been to. The first one was the week before he went quote unquote crazy when he was floating on the stage. I was in a 300 level, but it looked like he was just floating, and it was people following him, and the stage was moving all around the whole arena. He was just floating. He performed. My bad. He performed with no water, no breaks. It was amazing. And then a week later, he didn't perform again until I think he performed at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ye. Don Toliver's album was good this year. I'm also give Drake a shout out. Shout out to Dom Kennedy, a real one from the West Side with Love. 3 was fire.
I was about
And
to say,
Majid Jordan.
I was gonna
Yeah,
have to
that's my
hop back
shout out.
in here because you sounded
Go ahead.
very
No,
Chicago.
no, no.
No,
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 that
I was
was mine.
saying
Go ahead. Where's yours?
you was sounding
What's
very
yours?
Chicago.
What's yours? I got to. I
You
got
sound
to.
very Midwestern
I
over there.
got to. I got to.
No,
And
I
shout out to
saw
T
good.
Grizzly too.
No, I saw good. Like, no, I can second that, and I feel like you throwing the homie Dom Kennedy in there, so we good. Like, it's all love. That's yeah.
Yeah.
We'll say that. I,
So
I'm.
who else you
I'll
got?
say this. Well, I say this. I'm looking forward to 2020 because I feel like
2022.
22. Excuse me. I said 2020. Shit, that's
And he
where I'm
trying to
at.
go back.
That's where I'm
Trying
at.
trying to go back.
2022. Like I'm because I feel like music now, like everybody was kind of bubbling, or like I said earlier, like things kind of bubbling.
Yeah.
But what's gonna be released next year, I feel like it's gonna change the landscape of music in general. Like for sure. Like
Supposedly we getting
I'm I'm
Beyonce and Kendrick
I'm
Lamar first quarter.
yes, and that's really what it is. Like 20K dot, and then the stuff they doing. Cole. Oh, you know what? I gotta shout out Hit Boy and Nas for what they doing,
Oh
man.
yeah.
'Cause
Shout out to that Magic project. It was
yeah,
good.
for sure. Like they like it's coming. Like they turning it out, and they not doing the traditional. Oh, we just gonna sit on all these dope records. Like nah, they bringing them out. They releasing them, and now it's like, hey, what we sitting on them for? Like put them out there. Like, and I
As
feel
he
like that's
should. As
yeah,
he
that's the
should.
responsibility of all
Jay said
artists.
he had
Like
a one hot album every 10-year average. He didn't drop like 3 hot albums in the past 3 years.
yes,
He's
absolutely.
he's making up for that average, Hove.
Yes, he
He's
is.
making up for that average. He
He
got
is.
about 7 of them now. He got about Life is Good was hot. The past 3 of them been decent. That's 4 right there. Illmatic, Stillmatic. What
Listen,
else?
listen.
That's
I'm sorry,
6.
but you sparked something when you mentioned Hov. We
What you
got to talk
mean?
about this
Oh
though.
yeah. Go ahead.
We
I
got to
know
go
you
there.
got like 5 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes, but I
Let's
got to hear
finish it
this.
out with this.
Hov said it was first of all, shout out to Twitter Spaces. I love it, and I just randomly hopped in that space because I saw Hov was on there. I was like, okay, let me see what he's talking about. He said respectfully, nobody can stand on that versus stage with me.
Respectfully, he's lying.
Respectfully, I was like, man, if this
And look,
ain't
I
bull,
posted a poll. I posted a poll on my Twitter stories, and I asked everybody who will win. I said Jay Z versus Drake versus Future versus Nas versus LL Cool J, and I did versus Kanye. He lost to everybody but Kanye. Kanye won like 54%.
I can name 5 people who could equal him or beat him on that stage.
Go ahead.
Wayne,
Okay, I give you credit for that. And Jay talking about the Grammy family versus like Jay, you gotta have hot stuff. You not playing that at the versus, G. Go ahead.
yeah, you not. Yay, for sure.
You finna lie.
Drake,
No,
I feel like he can
no,
equal him. I feel like he can equal
no,
him. I feel
no.
like he can equal him.
You're tripping.
I feel like he can equal him,
Why?
dog.
What song?
I just
What's
feel
gonna
like
be?
he can.
What's Drake's best song? What's his unbeatable song?
That's the thing. He got. I feel like what record was that he? I feel
They
like you.
tied. No, I'm asking you. They tied. Or how about this? Put it this way: 9-9 with 2 records left to play. Drake versus Jay-Z. What are you playing?
Damn.
Actually, 1 record left because y'all got to play Niggas in Paris. Well, actually, if he battled Kanye, you got one
Yeah.
record left.
Well,
So
him
I
and
want. So I want. No, wait,
I
hold on,
feel like
wait. So I want 2 records for Drake because if they 9-9, what's them 2 records for Drake that's gonna beat the 2 unbeatables for Hov? And then
what's
what's
two
the one?
unbeatables?
I'm asking you.
I'm talking about with Hove.
You tell me.
Because here's the thing, like with Hove, you got to think of it like this. Like even numbers wise, he's just been consistently great, right? He hasn't been like an exceptional like head and shoulders above everybody else.
Number 2 probably gonna be that New York song. You know what I mean? The Yankee had more famous than the Yankee can.
You talking
No,
about
yeah, the New York joint with Alicia Keys.
right? But I'm like, okay, like
What Drake gonna beat that with?
what's the he could have played God's Plan.
All right, then what he playing? Okay, then for Hove, my final record is. Hmm,
I'll go here. I'll give you Drake's first.
is it Dirt Off Your Shoulders?
Okay, okay, but he can play You the Best. Like I feel like
Mm,
this is what I feel like. I feel like all the Hove
he could
stuff,
play
like
Hard Knock Life. Hard Knock Life, the last song.
okay, so that's when okay, he wins, but he didn't like
Okay, then what Drake playing? To
it ain't
Be
no
Hard Knock
blowout.
Life.
He may not can beat it, but he can match it.
I got
You know what I'm
songs
saying?
Ye can beat that with immediately.
No, Ye for sure. That's what I said. Ye, like Wayne for sure. Ye for sure.
I
Drake is like a
don't know if Wayne got a song that could beat the Hard Knock Life.
man, you gotta
I don't know if Jay got a song that could beat a Millie though,
man, we on
because you wouldn't play Hard Knock Life versus a Millie
you gotta do Hot
unless them
Boys
was
too
your
though.
two.
You gotta throw the Hot Boys in there too. Remember, because it's not just versus is not just your individual, it's on
Yeah, but I'm
your
saying, but
feature,
what's them two? What's the two unbeatable records for Wayne?
Millie for sure. Um I don't know if he got. I feel like nobody's unbeatable except for maybe Michael Jackson. But you said Weekend, so
Lollipop,
yeah. But
huh?
that's beatable. Lollipop is beatable.
No, but
Uh,
Michael Jackson would beat the Weeknd because he's been singing since he was 12.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like,
But if we just talk about album for album, I mean,
I can't. Like you probably like from the
Blinded
cultural
Lights or Thriller?
standpoint,
Which one? Blinded Lights or Thriller?
Thriller.
No, G. You want to listen to Thriller for the rest of your life over Blinded Lights? No, bro.
I feel like that's just cause like OGP is like, all right, I'll take it. But
Nah,
hold
I'm
on,
not
I
gonna
got
lie.
I
I'm
gotta
not gonna
finish my
lie.
two. I
Go
gotta
ahead. Go
finish
ahead.
my
Go
two.
ahead.
I
Go
got
ahead. Go
two
ahead.
more.
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
we
Go ahead.
got Ye,
Go ahead.
Wayne, Ye, Drake, LL.
I put that on there. I had like 5 people vote for LL. The rest did not vote for him.
I ain't saying he can beat him. I'm just
He don't
saying
got enough rap records, but they could
you
do
know
it.
what? That's why he back in there. That's why he back in the studio.
It don't, man. He can live in that motherfucker. It don't
Hey,
matter. I shout out to LL. I got his greatest hits on my computer. I know most of the words to LL's first greatest hits album. He got 16 on there. But the 4 after that is like, no, Hove could wash
yeah.
you. Hove got 100.
But you see, you talking about albums though.
No, I'm talking about period. Hove got 100 songs that he could play at a verses.
Okay, and
Go ahead.
the last one,
Snoop.
nope.
Who?
Even though that's like Snoop, I feel like Snoop for sure. Like that's not even a question. Snoop could equal him
Who
on
you
the stage.
finna say?
Not beat him, but match him. Busta Rhymes.
No,
Yes,
no, G. And that's
yes,
no disrespect to Buster.
yes. Come on,
No,
dog. You
what's
gotta
Buster 2 unbeatable songs?
listen. He was a leader of the new school, dog. Like
What was his 2 unbeatable songs?
his features. I'm just saying, like
18 to 9 and 9, 2 records left. What
you
songs he playing? You
uh
what? You taking Pastor Cavassier over Empire State of Mind?
no, I'm taking Pastor Cavassier as number 2. That's the second one. And then the first one, his unbeatable was if you really want to party with me, let me see.
That's gonna
Like
be a Hard Knock Life.
it's gonna match it.
That
I
gonna be Run This Town with Kanye. If he not battling Ye, he could use the Ye songs. I'm just saying.
I feel like it was just so
We can leave it at that.
I feel like it's not like that's an unbeatable. I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with what is it? Really want to party with me?
All right.
Like I can't. It's not too many, especially Hove. Like not too many Hove songs you can put against that one.
Yeah, I feel you. So, all right, let's end this real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
Last 55 seconds.
yep.
What's your New Year's resolution?
Man, my New Year's resolution is to keep getting better and to be intentional about the things that I desire and the things that I feel. Because as long as I'm being intentional about it, then that eliminates opportunity for anything that I'm not feeling or anything that doesn't make me better. and me giving it any time, any thought, any attention. So I'm just I'm going inward.
I
What about
like
you?
that. And for me, my New Year's resolution is to develop healthier habits, trying to smoke, drink less. But number two is just really to look out for myself. Like now that I'm a parent, you really gotta look out for yourself, for your mental health, your mental well being. And that's in all encompassing, factions of life.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I just be feeling like I felt like I spent a lot of time this year. Felt like I was mentally going a little insane trying to adjust
Yeah,
to this new life. So it's been a blessing to kind of end the year and be like, damn, you made it through that year, and now next year this is what you can do. So
yeah.
just going to eliminate a lot of drama, and I think a lot of that comes with just looking out for myself. Like I always looked out for a lot of other people before I looked out for myself, and put a lot of my dreams and other stuff on a back burner and on hold. And it's not about my girl or anybody in particular. It's just like this is the year where I'm gonna finally be like, yo, let me go out and make some money because I can actually go out and make money and not like struggle to be an artist because I want to make 50 other people happy or worry about 50 other people's dreams. So
Hmm.
this year I'm trying to be a little bit more selfish in that regard, so that way my mental health is better. And also it's like, I'm not to sound negative, oh, I'm getting old, but it's just like I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not even 30
One
anymore. i'm
thou wow.
closer
Yep,
to I'm closer to 40 now than I
yep,
am to 20 years old. So
yep.
I'll be 32 this year. So it's
Let's
just
go.
like trying to make sure that I can set myself up and establish healthy habits and like look out for myself so that way the next 8 years of my life are better than the last 8 years. And
Hmm.
I feel like currently this year, if this is the first year that's going to be the measuring stick of it, it's been a great year, but it's been one of the tougher years of the past 8 years. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
make my next 8 years better than this and just be more selfish and purposeful with my intentions. Cause I think I've been a freight train, and when you're a freight train, it's easy to look past everything that you've driven by on that road to like moving forward to get into the station. So now I'm gonna finally try to look toward and look forward, getting to the station and trying to have fun on my destination instead of being numb or being sad during it. And I think a lot of that comes from just building resentment or just feeling like shit is kind of closing in on me because as you get older and you get kids and families,
yeah,
your opportunities to establish and do things that you want to do, or even just to leave a house and just
yeah,
leave and with no purpose, like I'm just gonna go fuck around for a couple hours and maybe go to the mall and buy some shoes, or you got to hear about, oh, you gonna buy me some shoes, or yeah. So it's like a
yeah.
whole nother
A different dynamic.
thing on a different dynamic. So just trying to be more selfish and more purposeful for myself because I don't want to be one of the people that 10 years from now look back 10 years and be like, man, 10 years ago was a pivotal point and I just kept doing the same thing and being miserable. So that's really
Yeah,
my resolution. I know that might be a little
that's
long winded,
fine.
but if
No,
you
I
feeling
love it.
that way, go do what you want to do and just try to
Yeah,
figure it out. And like, if the people around you love you or they respect you enough, they'll be around to see it through. I really believe that. And that's
yeah,
also bringing it back full circle. One of them things where like, I could have that conversation with my father, and if I really love him, and as I've said, like I'm trying to resolve those things, if you really love somebody, you can make the effort to resolve or try to make sure that people feel respected, or even if you feel disrespected, to let that be known and for give people the opportunity to make amends. So that's kind of really what I'm at all around. So even people that I had disagreements with, I spent a lot of the later half of this year just trying to like do right by them and
love
and
it.
and make right on that. So that way, when I
Love to hear.
do make the decisions I make in the future, or people do make decisions that they make for themselves, it's less of a mental burden of like, oh, you messed that up, rather than I gave people my best. So yeah. So shout
Yeah,
out to you, Jay
yeah, man,
Black. Tell the people where they can find you at on the internet.
man.
First episode of the Spilt Milk podcast. TPJ and friends, co-host Jay Black. Shout out to you, Jay Black. Appreciate it. Let people know where they can find you at.
Yeah, man, you can find me on Instagram. That's JBLACK_SOPM, which is an acronym for son of a preacher man. Shout out to my father who he just transitioned. He just went on
Rest in
to the
peace. My
afterlife. Yeah,
condolences.
Pop, love you, man. That was my guy. I want to tell you something before we sign off.
Yeah.
And this changed the way I even dealt with my father. My Angelou talked about how her mother was horrible to her as a child,
Yeah.
but once she got older, her relationship with her mother gradually changed and grew to where when she was an adult, her mother was her best friend. And she said she realized at that point that, the reality of who we are is that as parents, there'll be some seasons where we just gonna suck. And it may not be, like as a child parent, father, I wasn't it. Now my kids are getting older, they're getting towards the teenage years. They like, man, Pops, you actually cool. Like you the man. Like and
Mhm.
I know once they become adults, they really gonna feel like this dude got my back. This dude is
Mhm.
best. And I know it's because that's how my father was. Like as a child, he worked all the time, but as an
Mhm.
adult, like I would call this dude every day, like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "What you need?" I'm like, "Oh, I was just calling, just because I wanted to talk to you." So, just consider that as you engage with your pop, and definitely, and myself and our audience, we look forward to hearing how that goes, man. So much energy and love towards you and that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
This is a real podcast about some real shit. If
Yeah.
you got mad about it, it sucks for you. We just gonna look at that as spilt milk. And it's your boy
Yeah.
TPJ as always.
Let's
It's
go.
spilt milk. It's out there now. There's no
Yep.
taking it back. Jay
Yeah.
Black, I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you. Until next time, it's just spilt milk. Get over it.